Alright, this is a quick video from the I told you so category. On October the 1st, 2016, I made a video called 6 Practical Ways to Deal with Leftists, in which I said a few things that now turn out to be absolutely true. Mind you, this is not necessarily to brag, but to point out that the tactics I keep on sharing here on this channel absolutely do work. So in this particular video from October the 1st, I said around the 9th minute mark the following.
One cannot genuinely believe in most of the leftist policies unless one is hooked up on an emotional guilt trip, or one is on drugs, or one has a mental disorder. The most numerous category are those on emotional guilt trips. And if you're dealing with a leftist who's been drinking this Kool-Aid for many years, it is hard to beat him or her on emotion. It is also double hard to beat him on emotion because our primary instincts as normal people is to get back to the facts, ask questions, look up into historical precedents, or bring up some sort of moral arguments. None of these work in an emotionally charged environment, which is why most non-leftists absolutely win on policy but lose on the bottom line because emotion. Case in point for this, the Obama versus Romney election. After the election, various polling companies asked the voters in an exit poll type of study various questions about the candidates, both personal and policy questions. And on the policy questions, Romney had won hands down. He had won on defense, domestic policy, foreign policy, economy, everything, but he lost overwhelmingly on emotion. On the question, which of the candidates you think cares more about you, Obama won 70-something%, and that was decisive. This is actually what Trump is doing right this time. He plays hardball on emotion. It is nasty, but that is how you win.
Whoa, hold on a second. Did I just explain how Trump won and did it 5 weeks before the election? Well, kinda. But more important is that now Trump is using almost the entire playbook as I laid it out, which is magnificent to watch in and of itself. So let me give an example. In this same video, one of the 6 tactics I recommended was this.
Element number 6, humanize the issue. Now again, this doesn't always work since it is audience dependent. There are 2 ways to humanize the issue, through an inspirational story or through a sob story. If your story is inspirational, you need to be very careful because this is an emotional bomb that can backfire if not delivered correctly. If your audience is mostly young, particularly young men, then the inspirational story is definitely the way to go. If your audience, however, is mostly mothers or people over the age of 45, then the sob story is the way to go. This is a tactic that the left has been using for decades, and most of the time successfully, even with outright false stories. The most successful episode of this tactic was in 2009 in the American Congress, when Obama brought in there an old lady and made her the face of the disastrous Affordable Care Act and used her story to promote his policy. And it worked. Most congressmen bought the Kool-Aid because the story was delivered almost impeccably with the exact dosage of emotion, facts, and lies by omission. Another successful episode of this tactic is the dead Syrian boy picture, framed impeccably by the cathedral media, which managed to maintain for a brief period of time, but enough period of time also, the utterly false narrative that refusing to allow over 1 million unvetted migrants into Europe is evil because it would lead to more Syrian kids dead on the shores of the Mediterranean. Thanks to impeccable framing and emotional manipulation, a banal story of negligent manslaughter was turned into the story to open the floodgates to endless, vibrant diversity. Now, I'm not saying you should do the same, but I am saying that it is about bloody time we start humanizing issues as well. Just put a face on it.
Alright, now with that in mind, let's look to Donald Trump's speech at the Department of Homeland Security, specifically this portion.
creates an Office of Homeland Security dedicated to supporting the victims of illegal immigrant crime. For years, the media has largely ignored the stories of Americans and lawful residents victimized by open borders. To all of those hurting out there, I repeat to you these words. We hear you, we see you, and you will never, ever be ignored again.
And then he does something extraordinary, something we haven't seen a non-leftist leader doing in years. He does exactly what I've been crying to the right to start doing for years now. He personalizes the problem, puts a name and a face on it. Watch this.
We are joined here this afternoon by parents whose children were horribly killed by individuals living here illegally. I will now read these parents' names and ask them to stand. Many have become friends of mine over the last 2 years and have supported me so dearly, and I appreciate it. Mary Ann Mendoza, who lost her son, Police Sergeant Brandon Mendoza. Fred Funderburg and his son James, who lost Billy. Billy was Fred's son and James's brother. Billy's wife, Natalie, was also killed by an illegal immigrant, somebody that should never, ever have been here. Laura Wilkerson, who lost her 17-year-old son, beautiful Josh. Josh was special. Where's Laura? Good. Laura. Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Carrie Ruiz and Lucio Ruiz Jr., who lost their young daughter, Felicia. Thank you. Beautiful, Felicia. Thank you very much. Thank you. Stephen Ronnebeck, who lost his 21-year-old son, Grant. Thank you, Stephen. And we have many others with us from Remembrance and from other groups. And these are incredible people that have endured so much. And I just want to thank everybody for being here. Very, very special people. Thank you. Nothing can ever make their pain go away. But I want you to know your children will not have lost their lives for no reason.
That's it. I mean, there's nothing more that I can or should say. This is how you agitprop. This is how you win hearts and minds. Those people and their friends will not consider voting a Democrat anytime soon. Those people have suddenly become immune to media propaganda. That is how you apply the humanization of the issue as I explained it 4 months ago. That's really all I had to say. I just wanted to show you this example because theoretical discussion is great, but actually showing how these tactics work in practice do much better in solidifying the knowledge. And with that said, thanks for watching. Tomorrow I have a recording day. 5 new long videos are on the pipeline. The end of this month will be crowded for sure. There's also my regular podcast on AVFM tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern European, 1 p.m. US Central. And also on Saturday night, there's my regular Romanian language podcast on the other channel. Talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching.